Hello and welcome to another Office Hours. Capsule. That's right, Capsule. These are small sections of my Office Hours live stream that I do on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I gotta get my stuff right. Live on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPublive. Come join the chat here live when we do this. Now, normally I do these infrequently for I usually do monthly report stuff with the capsules. This is a unique one because it's going to be kind of a hybrid lore and Star Citizen development. We're going to do a live reaction to the Squadron 42 video. So I'm going to go through it a little bit and break it down piece by piece. I'm also going to do a more refined video on my Astro Historian channel, which I'll put up there, which will be released this Saturday. For those of you who are interested in the the lore of what's the lore context of what's going on, because there's a lot of deep lore which is that kind of gives you the perspective of what's actually going on in the Squadron 42 universe. So make sure to check that out as well if you want a more cohesive experience. If you're cool with me rambling for a bit, thank you for joining me. And as always, make sure if you're enjoying this content, like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and leave a comment down below if you like this sort of thing, because I can do more of these things too. With that being said, let's look at the I Held the Line Squadron 42 video.
Archangel 6, come in.
Go for 6.
I'm getting a faint contact on bearing 287. You picking that up?
Yeah, got it. Scanning now. We're clear. Commercial vessel out of Vega 3. Reminder that civilian traffic is restricted under lockdown.
So, to give you some context already for this, Vega, I'm going to back it up a little bit. The December 5th, (2945). It is currently in Star Citizen 2953. And this was the day. This is the day of the Battle of Vega 2. Which is a very important event in the Star Citizen universe. It's the catalyst for the war on the Vanduul, and Vega's another important planet. I'll go very briefly over it. Vega's kind of a repository for all of the refugees who have fled the Vanduul incursions. It has people from all over the Empire, and there are two major planets, Aramis and Aramis is Vega 2. The name of it. Aramis and Selene. Vega 2 and Vega 3. Vega 2 is a lush, verdant world, whereas Vega 3 is a industrial world. And Vega 3 has kind of fallen down in times because it's just a lot of the industry has moved elsewhere. And so as a result, Aramis has begun to become more of a popular place. It is where a lot of the refugees from places like Virgil and Caliban have fled to. So it's been on the border of the Vanduul systems for a very long time, and they are actively always under hyper alert for Vanduul attacks. So that gives you some context for what's about to happen. These are also Hornet Mark IIs, F-7A Mark IIs.
Copy that.
Archangel, this is Krugeri.
Come back, Krugeri.
Redirect to Sector 7 Bravo Echo for immediate tasking.
Copy that.
So this is a flight not flight. It's flight is 4-6, but this is a patrol. And the Krugeri is the flagship of the Second Fleet. It is the flagship of Admiral Bishop.
On our way.
It's a Bengal. Oh, these might be Mark 1s. You're right. You can tell by the intakes. You're right. These aren't Mark 2s. I'm going to use it like it's That's the Krugeri. Oh, we get Reaper Squadron. That's cool. I think Reaper Squadron's they're a Retaliator Squadron. I have to look that up, but I think they're a Retaliator Squadron. UES Gauntlet. So all Javelin destroyers are named after weapons. The one that we know very well in the Star Citizen universe, in Star Citizen, is the Javelin that's tasked to defending the Stanton system, which is the UES Warhammer. We also have the UES Fleisa, which is the Crash Javelin on Daymar. And then we also have some other ones. The Gauntlet is another one. But basically, all of them are weapons of some type. They're named after them, which the first being the UES Javelin, produced in 2690. This ship is designed specifically to fight the Vanduul. Well, not specifically. It's designed to be flexible enough, but it's designed around fighting the Vanduul. It has multiple modules, including Raider class and some other ones. I did a big video on them. Like Convoy Raider, Convoy Patrol, they're different modules, which do different things for them. So, but yeah, so this is, I'm going to back it up a little bit more just because it's also cool. This is the Second Fleet. So the Second Fleet is probably the most infamous fleet in the UEE. It is commanded by Admiral Ernst Bishop, who is considered by many to be a modern-day Alexander the Great. He's one of the best admirals the UEE has ever had, and is renowned for his ability to inspire his starmen into action. People will throw their lives away for him very easily. He is probably, if you're familiar with Star Wars, he is probably the closest kind of example would be Admiral Thrawn. He's the Star Citizen version of Admiral Thrawn. The other reason why the Second Fleet is famous is because it's the home of Squadron 42, or the 42nd Squadron, which is a famous squadron, named after the game, obviously, which has been one of the most elite squadrons in the UEE since the Second Tavaran War. Actually, almost single-handedly won the Second Tavaran War because of their tactics, and as a result have become the best of the best. It's where all the best pilots in the UEE go at some point, so...
I know I just wrote you, but a couple of hours ago, proximity sensors on the
other side of the jump got twigged. Word is it might be that clan we've been battling with.
Okay, so a couple of things we're going to go over here real quickly. Write your senator today about the Polo Initiative. So this is an interesting little bit of lore right here on the Mobiglass, because the Polo Initiative was an initiative by Senator Polo from, I think, Terra, who wanted to defund the military. Basically, the UEE was running out of money. They were constantly having budget problems. The problem is that the UEE military is literally a branch of the government, So while the Congress, the Senate, is in charge of dealing with a lot of these problems, including budget issues, there's basically a blanket budget that they can't touch that's specifically for the military. And they're their own branch, so they have to, they do have oversight capabilities, but it's very difficult. So Polo said, hey, if we just take, like, I think it's like 10% of the budget, I may be wrong on that one, but it's a certain percentage of the budget from the military and put it towards civilian purposes, we would have a better overall infrastructure. And the military absolutely dragged ass with this whole thing. They did everything they could to spite Polo. They did everything they could to try to stop the Polo initiative because they didn't want to have the military be defunded. And there's actually some conspiracy theories out there that says that the attack on Vega happened, that Admiral Bishop let the attack on Vega happen because it would throw the Polo initiative into the garbage. So conspiracy theories, they exist in Star Citizen. But that's a nice, neat little lore Easter egg right there. But I'll let this go play out, and then I'll explain this a little bit.
I guess that last fight didn't scare
them off quite like we all hoped it would. Honestly, we've been out here so long, I don't know what to
pull for anymore. I just wanted to let you know.
I'll write as soon as I can. Stay safe. Your loving son.
Couple things. So you're writing to your mother in this one because this is the player. Obviously, each swipe is to show that the different character, because you can play a male or female character and you have customization options. We also have Voyager Direct. That is Amazon. The Polo Initiative, Navy Veterans Association. So this is the Navy trying to kind of cause this. Central Core Bank is offering lore. Fleet Academy application confirmation. And then the daily update, SBPL heats up. So your character is a big fan of Sataball, which is the kind of national pastime of the UE and the Banu. Also, if you notice, there's a Galactopedia there, which is pretty cool. So, let me back up a little bit more.
Stay safe. Your loving son.
Why this is important. So, what basically your character is talking about at this point is the jump point on the other side of Vega space, which has been heavily monitored for hundreds of years now, into, I think, it's called the Grinder, which is Caliban. Caliban was this absolutely devastating defeat that happened about 300 years before to the Vanduul, where several fleets were crushed by the Vanduul, and it caused the loss of two systems, not just one, Virgil and Caliban. And the fact that they're saying the clan may have twinged it, which means that there may be a clan entering into Vega space. Now, generally speaking, in the history of the UE, every time a Vanduul clan enters a space, it is only a matter of time before that system falls. So what your character is doing is writing what they think probably will be their last letter to their parents. Because if the Vanduul get into Vega, there will be blood. They do not negotiate. They're not there for hugs and kisses. They're there to kill everyone and everything. They indiscriminately bomb and mulch up anything they can. They kill men, women, children. They don't care. They just go crazy. And every system, like I said, every system that has had a Vanduul presence has eventually fallen. And every time a Vanduul invade a system, that system has been falling faster and faster and faster as the Vanduul learn how to fight the UEE. So we're in a situation where your character is right in the path of a Vanduul clan, standing between Vega 2 and the Vanduul. So you're effectively writing your last letter. This is your last letter that you think you probably are going to die.
Never gets old, does it?
Sir,
bees. I used to do the same thing when I was first coming up. Post up to the flight deck whenever I could to watch the launches. Have you seen the F-8s up close?
No, sir.
The thing's a beast. Nimble, too.
12 maneuvering thrusters and 3 mains. It sure sounds like it. Sir.
Captain McLaren, to the bridge. Captain McLaren, to the bridge.
I saw you apply to the Flight Academy again.
Yes, sir.
Keep your head up. Took me a couple times before I got in.
Thank you, sir.
You can think of this. This is the way kind of to put it in context. Your character is... They're watching ships fly through in formation because they think they're about to die. So they're doing something they love to do right before action. And she doesn't know you're there. She walks up too and then starts talking with you, meaning she was doing the same thing. Everyone knows the Vanduul have been sensed on the other side of the jump point. Archangel's patrol that we saw was likely out there looking for them. That's why they were out in patrol and why all of this activity is kicking up, because all of these fighter patrols and scouts are going out to try to find if the Vanduul are coming in. As a result, both of these characters are scared, is what it is. They're absolutely terrified, and they're trying to calm themselves. And so the fact that she's talking with your character about your applying to the Flight Academy is more about her sharing her love of ships. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think she may also have been a former member of Squadron 42 or a Navy pilot, at least before she became commander of the Javelin, because she obviously flew as a fighter pilot. So that gives you some context as to why everything's so emotional. They're tense. Like, everyone is on edge because they don't know what's going on. They don't have any information. They don't know if they're going to be alive by the end of the day. So. We all thought this was in-game. That's why we were clapping.
Welcome to Cloud Imperium Games Manchester Studio. I'm Chris Roberts, and I'm pleased to announce we have just passed a major milestone. Squadron 42 is now feature complete and has entered its polish phase. To celebrate this milestone, we've gathered some of our core leadership.
Yeah, this is also from before Regeneration. And somebody else said, your character is not a pilot this time. You've applied to be a pilot. I believe you're a gunner on the Javelin. So we don't know your rank, though. Someone else said, like, so do the Vanduul scrape a system clean? Yes, they do.
Together to share what this means.
As Chris says, we've moved into the polish phase of Squadron 42, which means extra emphasis on ensuring things feel fun.
Yeah, but Starman is like seaman, but we don't know what Starman First Class or whatever. I think it's just a generic term for sailor. Actually, it's not a seaman; it's a sailor. It's when you say Starman, it can also mean sailor.
This means focusing on the small and large elements of the game, such as dialing in combat encounters, but also looking at the feel of how you control your character or vehicle and making sure it's immersive as possible. We've paid extra attention to how your character reacts when in their ship, so that you feel like an actual pilot, whether that's firing your weapons, taking hits, or punching the afterburners to get to cover. Ship AI has also seen huge improvements, with closer engagement distances and more varied behaviors. And with our new precision targeting mode, the action has never been as close. With the aim now.
So the context, for more context in terms of development, CIG's been developing new AI systems that they use kind of these tags that they put on to AI. They did first with FPS so that they could vary up they could randomize, they can spawn an AI and they can put different tags on them. They'll give them different features like pusher, defender, sniper. They have different like aspects. And if they have those tags, they have specific behaviors which are associated with those tags. Those tags have been translated to ships as well. So they're using the same system that they did for FPS with AI. So you'll have ships that will act differently depending on which tags they're associated with. And this will all come to Star Citizen as well. But that's the idea. That's what he's talking about, effectively.
Now on Polish, we've organized the project into self-sufficient strike teams, so we can focus on individual areas to deliver the best experience.
Those are terraformation platforms. You'll see them in another scene.
Get out of sight. The cutlass is going to spot you.
This allows us to bring all disciplines together with a unified vision of enhancing the gameplay by seamlessly blending it with polished visuals, final cinematic performances, and our ever-improving technology.
See the boat, kid. You're good to keep going.
Notice how like that's very placeholder. His face is not moving. He's not animated. And I don't even know. I think that audio may be even placeholder.
We're also dialing in gameplay features, such as the ship flight model for both atmosphere and space.
What is this?
Master
Arena
modes, control surfaces, and our gold standard.
God, this is like an Ace Combat game.
HUD and MFDs. Our interaction system for both the world and your character have also seen additional improvements, allowing us to hone and craft environmental puzzles unique to each location, while allowing us to tell the story of the world around you.
That's the F8C or F8AR. Multi-tool.
The military multi-tool is an essential piece of equipment for every pilot that integrates all attachments into a single handheld device and allows us to create really interesting challenges.
Look at that thing right there. I have no idea what ship that is.
Including physics-based puzzles using our updated rope tech.
Vessels. This is the UEE Navy. Power down.
You can see that his face is a lot more animated in this one, so this one's probably a little bit better.
On your ships and stand by for processing. There you go. F off the coil's eyes. God damn it.
Our scanning, targeting, and marker system has also seen an overhaul, allowing us to highlight only the essential information that you need, such as key objectives, mission targets, and high-level scan information, while keeping your overall view as clean as possible.
He's that skank! Take him off me! No!
Tactical FPS combat and stealth, which has seen a suite of improvements, from improved looting, weapon feel and balance, realistic scopes, and smoother locomotion, alongside our new and improved FPS radar and scanner that provides you an overview of the battlefield, but at the cost of ramping up your own emissions. We've also seen the introduction of our Maelstrom-powered destructible environment, which adds a layer of dynamism to the experience, alongside our improved AI, that can now have hundreds of combinations of traits that allow us to create unique and challenging combat encounters that really push your tactical awareness and skill.
These sound chunky. So a lot of things we saw there. The Maelstrom Destruction system, the new weapon sounds, the new like a visor mode where you can ping and get more targets, and sliding. So there's definitely sliding. And you also look if you notice over here the way that the medical stuff, if you've played Star Citizen, that is a much higher than it is in Star Citizen. So you'd have to like really work down the time to be able to like get hit. So it's very difficult. And this is a P8 AR, so. It's just a tiny grenade.
We play and review the builds regularly, and call out action points in each level from start to finish on where we need to improve the gameplay. This is an incredibly rewarding stage of development for me and the team, as the ultimate vision of the game is realized, allowing us to craft an experience that we can be really proud of. One specific area that I'm excited to dial in is the feeling of the player interacting with the world around them,
Patching you in.
as it's a core component of Squadron. And
you'll also notice that there's new oxygen levels and a bunch of other things like that as well. So there's a lot more interactables and a lot more other things you got to do with this. A lot of the stuff is going into Star Citizen as well.
really grounds the world that you inhabit. We've made sure that any interaction in the environment is physically represented by a character animation to keep you in the moment and fully immerse you in the experience that we've created. Ultimately, this is the final phase of gameplay iteration before we fully transition into optimization and stability on the road to release.
Agent Trejo, this is Colton. Come back. Always trips me out to see terraforming setups like this. Web tried explaining how atmosphere processors work. Really shows how far we've come. The hell is she?
Agent Trejo is one we saw in the Vertical Slice. She's the SAIC, Special Agent in Charge of the Odin system. So she's the job, if you remember Dooley, she has Dooley's job in the Crusader system. Dooley is the Special Agent in Charge of the Crusader system. And these are, like, advocacy agents are fucking nuts. They are very, very elite. Most of them are ex-Marines or ex-Navy. They have lots of experience in what they do, and they're true believers. So they will do lots of crazy things to do what they want to. And those are atmospheric processors. Atmospheric processors is how terraformation works in the world of Star Citizen. The Atmo processors was developed first by RSI and was used to develop to terraform Mars twice, because the first time they screwed up. But, you know, so yeah, they look terrifying, but they also have to be built in systems. So all of these platforms have to be built in the system itself. They have to be shipped in pieces and built in systems. So.
With the transition of Squadron to polish phase, we've had the opportunity to find additional moments within the existing narrative to add subtle interactions where appropriate.
Also, Webb is, who he mentioned, is the second in command or main. She's one of the engineers. She's one of the main engineers of the Stanton. Next to, Jake's going to kill me. I forgot the guy's name. Morrow. Webb and Morrow are the two major engineers.
It's been tremendously exciting to play through these areas and find places to augment the mood, support gameplay, and further embellish our story and characters.
So yeah, man, I can't believe it. They said I've got to wait another 2 years before I can reapply. So that's why I figured I'd get a job trying in security, because that's, you know, I can get some hours flying in the cockpit and whatnot. Can't hurt, right? Exactly.
That sort of thing's going to happen a lot. What he's talking about is military or advocacy, one of the two. Like being a pilot is a big deal in the Star Citizen universe with the military or with the government, because it requires a lot of time and practice, because they're giving you, $1 million machines to control. And so having flight time is a big deal. You have to have flight time in order to do well. And you have to take tests in order to do it. So like there are sim tests you have to take to be able to pass flight school in order to even get into flight school. You have to take those tests, and they're very difficult if you don't have flight time. So
We've also been capturing pickups for our lead female player character, as well as wildlines for our various enemies that you all will encounter throughout the game on both foot and in your cockpit. These consist of a range of responses and reactions that you as the player can trigger, which has been the culmination of efforts by the gameplay and AI teams. This means that you're going to have
player character and then the two Marines. Marines in Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are very different from Marines in any modern sense. They're kind of a hybrid of special forces and modern Marines for, say, like the Royal Marines or the U.S. Marines. They still do kind of escort major, they're still posted on ships for the Navy, but they have their own fleets and they have their own stations, and they also have special forces units like the 6th Platoon, whose job is to do more clandestine actions. So they're kind of like a smaller, more elite branch of the military, and they're their own branch, not a separate branch. So ODST is a good example. They're similar to the ODSTs. But they have very intense training and very intense like loyalty. They are very insular and very secretive about what they do. They're also heavily trained, and they're the only ones who get access to what are known as Titan suits, which is the closest thing we have in Star Citizen to mechs. So.
have to tangle with some very smart and reactive bad guys to complete your mission.
Space AKs. These are shipjackers.
At the heart of this immersive adventure, you'll find cutting-edge cinematic storytelling, thoughtfully crafted to fully immerse you into your story.
We fight today. So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today. Good luck. Bishop out.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Well, let's get into position.
Back this up a little bit so we can talk a little bit. So this is likely the full Second Fleet, which is unusual. Most fleets are broken up into smaller, I forget what they're called. They're broken up into smaller kind of groups. I think, yeah, they're called groups. Smaller groups, so that they activate. They're usually anchored by at least a bangle or a javelin. And so these groups operate independently to help spread out task forces. They're either task forces or attack groups. Battle groups, thank you, it's battle groups. To work off. They usually have one major ship, either a destroyer all the way up to a Bengal class or to a super carrier, and they're usually supported by several other ships, usually Polaris's, well, not at this point because Polaris isn't built yet. So Idris's, Hammerheads, Perseus's, those sorts of things will escort them and support them in their actions. And usually they're spread out all over a system or over multiple systems if they're kind of in charge of everything. The fact that the Second Fleet is there kind of shows you how important Vega is to the UEE. They have the entire might of the Second Fleet in one location, which is a lot of ships. I'll back it up a little bit so I can show you something.
You can look them in the eye and say...
Couple things here. First off, UES Morningstar. That is probably a Javelin. This is a brand new version, a brand new ship. Looks like they're called the UES Corvus. This looks like it's a mini version of the Bengal, or a variant of the Bengal. We don't know what it is, but the U.S. Corvus does not fit within the naming standards of Bengals. They're named after cats, and I don't mean wild cats or like tigers. They're named after domestic cats. The Bengal. This is the Kuguri, which is an African wild cat. So
I heard the line.
And there's a couple of other things here as well, but yeah, there's a couple of them. There's at least, it looks like there's a cruiser, which is called the Integrity as part of it, which we know is a cruiser. Cruisers and battle cruisers, and then there's also probably an escort carrier, which is probably what the Corvus is. So.
Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today.
No UEE mercenaries, no mercenaries cracking this flight. No, the Kraken wasn't built yet. 2945.
Good luck. Push about.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Notice how they're talking about the recon team.
Let's get into position.
They're trying to figure out what's going on. And notice that they're moving away from Vega. This is what actually happened in the war, is they pulled away from Vega, leaving it supposedly defenseless. That's the ring of Vega 2.
Throughout the polish phase, our team is taking every opportunity to push things to the next level.
Tell me you're expecting company?
This is not good.
The Cine team is focused on finalizing.
All right, let me look up John Rice Davies. Randall Graves. Former Red Raiders Squadron 118 Second Fleet. So he's part of the Second Fleet at one point. And 135th Attack Squadron. He served in 118 alongside Steve Colton, and then dropped out of the military. That's John Rice Davies here. Went into civilian life. So he's now the head of security on Archon Station, which is in the Odin system. Here in a moment. We'll talk a little bit more about that in here.
Added lock on all of our big action as well as all smaller character sequences.
I could have pulled this off of the Galactopedia.
Yeah, probably, but I think their solar mass calculations are wrong, though.
Well, this is ridiculous.
How so?
We are now able to adjust our shot composition to final cameras.
Well, if you're asking what this is behind him, this is a relay station. It's an old relay station that's been abandoned, but in the Odin system, I believe. But this is one we've actually ever seen an entire video about this one. So.
Thanks to recently crafted space vistas and level art being content complete now.
Fortune's Cross is a station in the Odin system. It's, I think, an abandoned station.
Nice to know how much of a shitstorm we're flying into.
More like a hellstorm, Blue. One you ain't gonna fly out of.
Shut up.
Now, I hadn't seen another ship that wasn't trying to...
That's probably a member of the OMC. This is the best character in all of Squadron 42. This is Cal Mason. Cal Mason is the best best character in all of Squadron 42. I'll not hear anything else. But he's actually a member of Squadron 42. He's actually kind of a folk hero.
Kill me in days, let alone a hauler, let alone a Jean. So you can imagine my surprise.
Detailed lighting passes can be done on hero sequences so we can show our cast and convey their emotions in the best light possible. And we're making sure our cinematics are triggering as fluid as we can craft them so they form a coherent concerto with the rest of the player's narrative experience.
Mr. Wexler, this is Lieutenant Commander Colton.
Oh, Commander, hey. Julian Wexler, I'm the field manager of this little operation. Welcome aboard the Archon. What brings the Navy to this little corner of the universe?
We got you flying with Lieutenant Commander Colton. He's one of our best.
As others will share, this is the most rewarding chapter of the...
That was, I'm trying to remember the actor. That's Julian Wexler is the head of Archon Station, which is Kovalex. Not Kovalex. Breaking Rocks. Breaking the name of it. He is the lead director of Archon Station. He's played by Ben Mendelsohn, who played Rogue One, In Rogue One, he played Director Krennic, I believe. So, that's Rona Mitra, and this is Liam Cunningham, I want to say. He plays Captain White, and Rona Mitra plays the XO. I'm trying to remember her name. Sophia Kelly, XO Kelly. Noah White is captain of the of it, and the UES Stanton is the Idris that you're on. Stanton. The Idrises are all named after systems in the UEE. So you have the UES Stanton. You'd have the UES Terra. Obviously the Idris, the UES Idris, because it's named after Idris. So these are Idris captain and crew. In fact, Noah White actually served on the Stanton as a starman. So when he was coming up in the ranks, he served on the Stanton before becoming the captain.
Our best. As others will share, this is the most rewarding chapter of development, which
is there a
allows
UES soul? Probably. We don't know all of them yet. So
to truly experience the visceral and oftentimes emotional moments that our narrative provides.
That is Sophie Wu, I believe, is the name of the actress who plays this. But this is your mechanic.
How did you handle it after Vega?
I'm not sure I handled anything. It helps to remember that stuff like this is supposed to hurt.
I've never been good at dealing with problems I can't fix.
Well, this is one that you don't have to do alone.
That's good to know.
For the animation teams, polish phase means refining the social aspects of Squadron.
Is his gear significant at this point? Yes. This means he's a pilot.
That's good to know.
You don't have to do alone.
That is the pilot's outfit. That is a UEE Navy pilot's outfit or flight suit and armor. So this is when your character is a Navy pilot after they've gone through the academy after the Battle of Vega.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's an advanced G suit and armor combo.
For the animation teams, polish phase means refining the social aspects of Squadron 42 that occur between the various missions and getting the behaviors implemented across all of its chapters. Here we're dialing in the hangar to make it as immersive and believable an experience as possible.
That'll do it. Done.
They've been working on all of this stuff for a while now, and basically they will have random wildlands where they come up and talk with each other. They'll have different aspects. They use, I believe, the rope physics for some of these the fuel lines and stuff like this. But
okay, all right.
That is a Tavaran air shield. We stole that technology from an alien race known as the Tavaran. And that is the best ship in the game, the Argo MPUV, or Multi-Purpose Utility Vehicle. Every capital ship in the UAE has one.
Let's do this. I have to switch out some of the interchange on the mega deck. We're getting a weird airflow. Turning out to be another stuff.
Yeah, I feel that.
Anyway, I'm off.
For example,
the members will have shifts that they work in, so you can find people going in and out of shifts and going off to like going to the chow line. You can follow the characters; they have their own like animations and their movements and stuff like that.
we're launching off a space carrier, but we still ground the feel in real-world actions, refueling, repairing, and inspecting, and making sure that your next flight mission is a success.
I'm recording a capsule, but welcome everyone from Zero Stream. So we're going over the Squadron 42 video, and I'm giving some context as well as in terms of development and in terms of lore. I'll go over this as well. This is the P5G Gladius, developed in the 2500s. It's one of the oldest ships that is currently in service in the UAE and is actually being rotated out of the UAE as of Squadron 42. So these are basically old ships that are on their way out. You can think of them as F-14s or F-15s. They've been around for a very long time, but they're still useful, but they're also not very they're being replaced. So
This means we're looking out for pops, hiccups, or awkward transitions, and ensuring that everything flows and looks like all the great mocap performances we've captured.
Let's ready some extra ice packs out of storage. Whenever gunners are on full rotation, you can always count on at least one of.
And Chad is attacking me for saying for saying the F-15. You know what I mean? Older tech, it's still being used, but it is being phased out.
I'm getting hurt.
We also have you covered in everyday life. The medical staff work diligently for their patients, whether they're players or crew.
I do want to know any Navy personnel who have been on board ships or who have known gunners. I do want to know, do gunners have a bad tendency to hurt themselves while on operation? Because that's what she just said, which I don't know if it's just a little thing they added as nice little flavor text, but when they're doing full rotations, apparently they hurt themselves, probably because they sit too long or try to move around too much and those sorts of things and and end up getting circulation problems, so.
We really want you to feel part of an authentic crew, an important part of the UEE Navy in an enormous universe of people going about their everyday lives.
That's all IK driven?
Let's go ahead and cliff.
So basically it's special, it's like an animation type. I can't remember exactly what IK is, but this is all IK driven. This is a new HUD that they're going to be introducing to Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. That is Aaron Setow, who is your ATC. Kind of your if you played Ace Combat, your Ghost Eye or your AWACS operator, kind of feeding you information and stuff like that.
Takeoff. Ground crew, prep bay for takeoff.
Copy that.
Hangar, ready for launch. Takeoff approved, Baron 2. You have it.
And the flight crew is based off of actual footage from flight crew and Navy vessels.
Square the deck and line it up.
We're ready and hold on as you're launched off the deck of the carrier.
Baron 2, you are cleared for launch. Have a safe flight, Baron 2.
So there is no catapult, as far as I know, on board carriers. So this may be a situation. I did see level cap suggest that it might be a tractor beam. That might make sense. Where they tractor beam your ship, and so you can build up speed or build up thrust on your engines, and then release tractor beam to let you fly out. This is the coil right here. This is a destroyed, I believe it's a protoplanet. I have to look it up real quick. Remnants of the first planet of the system destroyed by a catastrophic collision. So this is a planet that has been ran into by another planet and became a hellstorm. It's filled with electromagnetic energy and also a lot of minerals, because if you don't guess, there's a lot of minerals in planets that are deep in the core of those planets that are hard to get. Now they're exposed to space. So that is why Archon Station is there to harvest those resources, because Shubin likes money. Inverse kinematics, thank you.
We want you to not only decide how you play the game, but to feel as if the people you interact with are in that world with you.
I would have never thought a shotgun could be so pretty.
Ah! Whoa! He has terrible barrel control. Oh, gosh. He's pointing that good thing right at you. He's supposed to be a gunnery sergeant? Oh, God. Or not, he's quartermaster, not gunnery sergeant.
R97 is sleek as hell.
This is in the game right now. And so the R97 is actually one of the older designs by what are they? I know the whole lore behind them, but Gemini weapons. So Gemini, this is just a quick lore for this. Gemini was actually founded by a human and a Tavaran. Both of them were runaway orphans, and they were street rats. And together they cobbled up enough stuff where they kept getting into trouble because they kept stealing food, that the Devarin ended up getting scared and built a weapon. And the human realized that this weapon was pretty good and had some business sense. So she ended up test firing the weapon at a bar to get investors to buy her weapon, because after this took place just after the Second Devarin War, where ballistic weapons stopped happening. They stopped making ballistic weapons because they wanted to experiment with all sorts of exotic weaponry that had been developed for the Second Devarin War, like chemical rounds, neutron energy weapons, all these sorts of things. But a lot of people still relied on ballistics. They wanted ballistics. And so she felt, hey, let's build slug throwers. So she tested them out in a bar and got a bunch of pre-orders for them and used that to start Gemini weapons. And once they got big, she hid the fact that her partner in the business was a Devarin, because they were very xenophobic at the time. So that means that pretty much all Gemini weapons are designed by a Devarin. Were developed and designed by a Devarin living in human space. So this is a Devarin weapon.
Like a lot of other weapons in Gemini's arsenal, it has a higher rate of fire than most guns of its type.
Our player has good trigger discipline. Oh, that is loaded.
We're working to support a feel of authenticity through world traversals, running, jumping, and climbing, interactions with objects and the environment, solid weapon gameplay and enemy reaction.
This is they've been talking a lot about this. This is the firing range on the Stanton. So this is what it looks like.
As well as combat realities, such as weapon malfunctions.
That's the Gemini pistol. Woohoo, jammins.
Or in close encounters of the more lethal kind. Ooh, that's gonna hurt in the morning.
The animations were off there.
As we continue to focus on the quality.
So this is one of the security members. This is, I think, Archon Station. This is probably sanitation or Archon Station. It could be somewhere else, but this is definitely not a member of the crew or anything else like that. That's very, this outfit doesn't look like that. It may be a military version of the LH-86. That's the full auto version. It could just be that they don't sell them to civilians.
Experience, we've been working closely with our art teams, and it's been exciting to see their environments come to life alongside us.
While animation and design have been populating the locations, polish phase for my teams means making huge advancements in the quality of our characters and environments. We've established our standard with recognizable characters like Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Gary Oldman, and we're now applying this to the rest of the cast and identifying any remaining tech requirements that need to be closed out. The story of Squadron 42 takes you through a variety of diverse locations of varying scales and styles.
This is not a Xi'an ship. This is not a Vanduul ship. This is a Xi'an ship. You look at the console right here, that is the Xi'an styling for consoles. This is likely the giant Xi'an ship, which I think
we shared glimpses of several environments before, and there's still plenty out there for you to discover.
That is the Atmo processor.
One of the main challenges the art team has had to face during the development of Squadron.
That was seen in the vertical slice. That is Agent Trejo's advocacy Avenger.
42 is ensuring the visuals are complementary to the narrative of the script. The mood and feeling of a space is just as important to us as it is making sure we hit the visual quality that CIG has become known for.
Oh good, we can't hack it from this side. Graves, we got a locked door. Can you give us access?
No, I'm afraid that's a negative, Steve.
I would have to add you to our system to override the missions, and there's a lot involved in that. It won't happen.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
That's so corporate. I love it.
Everything you see
there is the Xi'an ship.
campaign.
That is a Xi'an cargo ship. That is the large Xi'an cargo ship, which we've seen kind of discussed in the past. So
it's been heavily inspired.
That's a Xi'an cargo crater. These are Xi'an cargo. Notice the Rubik's cubes that are similar to the Sulian. Yeah, that's a Xi'an cargo ship.
The classics of 70s and 80s sci-fi, but with a modern twist.
So this is
We want
inside of a
everything you
Xi'an
see
ship right
to
here.
feel like it has a soul, its own personality, and tells of a history long before you arrived.
This is inside the coil.
Crafting interesting flight spaces and their connecting tissue has been one of the more
you're
unique
escorting a
challenges we've
bomber.
needed to overcome for Squadron.
It's a Retaliator bomber.
Developing our VDB tech to blend seamlessly between tighter traversal spaces and into wider space vistas and planets has proved incredibly difficult but rewarding, ensuring that
F7s.
Squadron flows seamlessly from one chapter to the next, without interruption. Creating a diverse array of locations is essential to us. Our environments need to work from a variety of scales. We need to pay close attention to detail, whether we're working in a dirty engineering vent or navigating the debris of a dying star, wondering what may be around that next corner, or even who may live there, how would they have survived, and what state of mind may they be in.
This looks like the Idris, I believe. Yes, because that's Ronamitra. This is the Stanton, the bridge of the Stanton.
We've worked closely with our social teams in delivering a cohesive social experience when you're taking some downtime from our refined
That's
flight
the coil.
and FPS missions, or even missions of the more eerie kind.
This was seen in the visual teaser. This is a freelancer, a derelict freelancer. It looks like probably a Avenger there as well, so it's probably Trejo.
We'll be introducing new space stations on a massive scale, all brought together and designed to be as tangible as possible. We've thought about their function,
This is
their
probably
age,
Archon Station.
and tried to ensure there's a progression in artistic style with each station as you progress through the game.
This is definitely the cross station, because it said meet the advocacy agent.
As you can see today, the teams are working incredibly hard, ramping up the detail and quality to match the breadth of our vision for Squadron 42.
I don't know what that is. Looks like the engine of a Bengal.
Now, I know you're all asking, when can I play it?
When can I play it?
When we have the locked release date, you will be the first to know. Now, we're in polishing phase on Squadron 42. You will start to see a lot more things coming to Star Citizen, as well as overall progress on the persistent universe. The polish phase can take some time. We have come this far, and we want to make sure Squadron 42 delivers on the promise of being this generation's wing commander. Now, even though there's only a few of us in this video, I'd like to extend a big thank you to all our staff around the globe who have been putting their heart and soul into bringing Squadron 42 to life. And I would like to thank everyone in the community for your patience and your support. To paraphrase Admiral Bishop, when people ask, what did you do in the development of Squadron 42? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. I'm proud to stand
That's
with
cringe.
you. Thank you for making this game with us.
Such cringe. I want to see it in the chat. And those are the Van Duel. And what that Van Duel said was something to the effect of, I rise, I take, I ascend. That's what it says. That is the official translation. All right. Hopefully that gives you some context for Squadron 42, some lore stuff, and some other development aspects. Some of this stuff may end up in Star Citizen, as I said. So, and of course, I want to know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comments. This has been an hour of me reacting to this, so I do hope you enjoy this. Thank you for watching, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.